Hello and welcome to the energy update for the week of the 22nd of January. This week is all about being open to receive. Literally, it was how can you say yes? And so this is really building on the last few weeks of guidance. And it's almost like a story that is being woven to lead us to a certain destination. And that destination is really like being in alignment within ourselves and like within our truth and trying to feel most connected and joyous in our everyday life. And really, this message, what it was asking us is to be willing and open to say yes. And so it was really, how can you say yes? We have asked you to be still, to witness all that you are leaving behind, all that you are called to, and you are now being asked to say yes. And so this is really the message around the last few weeks being here to show us what we're ready to release, what we're ready to really step into, what are our biggest dreams. Now that we know these things, now we know what we're ready to release. Now we know what is not in alignment. Now we know what we do want as this dream and vision. Now we're being called to say yes. And this is almost like this kind of like, of course it makes sense, but it's also like the gateway to having what you want is being open and willing to say yes. And so it can almost like this caveat that we forget to do, because when we get stuck in our everyday lives, that can be the main thing that kind of like slips away, our ability to say yes and to be even open to witnessing what wants to come through for us. And really this message is say yes to the visions that you hold for yourself. Yes to hopeful possibilities, and yes to new outcomes. When you see the small moments of recognition of your dreams, however small they are, you are being asked to say yes. And really, this is a message because, like I was saying, is like when we get stuck in the smallness, when we get stuck in the rut of our everyday life, we can very much retreat back into our own heads, our overthinking thoughts, our belief systems that are not supporting us. And we have to have this moment of awareness and true intention to be aware, to say yes to what we are being shown. And so when we can see small moments, and this is the concept of like driftwood, when you see things that are similar to what you want, say yes. And this can be even the smallest of moments. This is literally like someone says something that just kind of like piques your interest. However small it is, say yes. Say yes, because you never know where that can lead you. And this is really just being open to just see. And this is not like something massive, like you're trying to get a new job and they offer you a new job and you say yes. It could be that, but it could also be like the small moments of saying yes to things that feel good to you. And so maybe it's like you're looking for a new job and you get invited with a friend to do this activity. And really this activity really like excites you and brings you kind of like joy, it sounds good to you, just say yes, because you never actually know where that joy could take you. You could end up, I don't know, enjoying it so much you end up getting qualified in that thing and you end up teaching that or doing that for a living. You never actually know. And so be open to say yes to the small moments. Be open to say yes to receiving things, because in that receiving, we're being almost like they're being tested. We're being tested for your ability to say yes and welcome in things that are good for you and that in your highest alignment, that maybe be like more open to this perspective that's like new and exciting for you. And so they're saying like these are the golden moments, the small like actions of alignment which will take you towards your dreams. So you are being asked to keep your eyes open for what you are being called to, like within your dreams. Be open to witness these things coming through. Be open your awareness. So like the awareness is like be willing to see, because you can open your perspective, whatever, but open your awareness. Like look around you with a fresh perspective for the ways that things are trying to support you. And we forget, like we are in this like kind of like bubble like this and we don't want to look up. But look up, because when you look up and you are open and willing to receive guidance and new perspectives and new outcomes, new opportunities, that is when you will have these things. But you have to be open to receive them. And you have to be open to the understanding that you are not alone and that this is also possible for you. And when we are stuck in the down and we don't want to look up, we forget we are not isolated. There is so much guidance and opportunity available to us, but we just have to just declare that we're ready for it. And this was like a declaration, because by opening your awareness and being open and willing to receive, you are in a way having to state, I am open to receive what is in the highest alignment for me. I am open to receive my next right steps towards the outcome that I want. And this is like kind of like a declaration, but it can also be a prayer. It's like, thank you. Thank you for showing me my next steps towards what I want. My next aligned actions. My highest like truth. And this is really, really important. And this is kind of like sitting in the faith. And so when we are open and willing to receive, we are in a way kind of like giving the universe the message like, hey, I trust that you're there for me and that you've got my back, and you're going to show me what's in the highest alignment for me. You're going to show me my next steps. And so there has to be this degree of like, even if you're not fully there, just like do it. Just ask for a sign and allow it to be revealed for you. Get really, really specific. And this is the whole point of being open, is like almost stating your faith. And that's what this week is. By saying yes and being open and willing to say yes, you are stating that you have faith. You are stating that you're open to say yes. And that is a shift of energy and a shift of like consciousness and frequency. Because maybe for the first time, you have been saying, okay, I don't have all the responsibility that I have to take on by myself. I trust that the universe is there to guide me, and I'm going to open myself up to that guidance. And that can be a new perspective shift for a lot of people. But like that degree of like trust and safety and faith that we are being guided and supported, really, that is when we open up to receive. Because that's when we can look up for the first time and say, how am I being guided to receive now? How am I being asked to say yes? And that is really the next level of like connection and faith and trust in the universe. And so if this is you, and if you're working on building that higher connection, be willing and open to say yes, lift your head up, be open to receive and state, thank you for showing me my next steps. Thank you for showing me how I'm being called to say yes. And that is really where this message is for this week. Because now that we've been seen and we've been open to witnessing both the things that we want and what we don't want, be willing and open to say yes to the smallest moments. Because that is when things are going to be granted to us. That is when we're going to be shown and lifted and directed to where we are called to be. And so even in the moments of stuckness, be willing to receive. This is so important. And especially if you are stuck, this is when you even more have to state that your faith and you're willing and open to receive new messages, new guidance, new opportunities, and create space for that. And so you are being asked, like, ask yourself, I am willing to be shown the greater meaning of why I am stuck. And that is when you kind of like you shift the dynamic here a little bit more. So you're now in the frequency of, okay, I am stuck, but show me the greater meaning. Show me why this is. Show me the lessons and show me my next steps. This is like the dynamic of victim to like empowerment and trust and faith. Because if you're here and you're watching this, you're undoubtedly in higher alignment, and you're here and you're called to be connected to the universe in a greater way. And this is your moment. And so especially if you are stuck, and especially if that is where your experience right now is like leading to, then you even more have to be asked and shown where your greater meaning is. What is the greater meaning in all of this? And how can I call myself into something more? And that is really magic. And they say, so ask to be shown the greater meaning and to be shown what you are ready for. And this is along the lines of what I was saying. Like, ask what you are ready for and to be shown that. And be willing to say yes and be willing to lean into this. And so this is such an empowerment. And so by saying yes, what I'm seeing is like every time you say yes and you kind of build a confidence and the trajectory towards what you want and the life that you want to be living, even if it feels very small and insignificant, especially if you are very much in the feeling of like stuckness or heaviness, and there's a lot of trials in your life, this is when you're asked even more. This is your time to really tune in And every time you say yes and you shift that frequency a little bit more, it's like you're going to gain more momentum and more empowerment to begin to live your life in a way that feels more connected to this trust and more connected to, okay, I am being supported by the universe, and that is what's important. And that is what's going to be the guiding force for you to go through. But first, you have to be willing and open to receive and willing and open to say yes. And so this is your opportunity. And I recommend that you write like a journal to all the things that you're being called to say yes to. And write that right now. Say, how am I being called to say yes? And then keep a log every single day and start the day with your prayer to be willing and open to say yes, and for your next right actions to be shown to you, and for the greater meaning to be revealed. And then just be open and just kind of start a dialogue. And every day at the end of the day, say, how was I called to say yes? And did I respond to that? How did that feel? What was the energy of that responding to say yes? And then if you didn't say yes, okay, how can I say yes now? How can I call this in now? And really work with that and show yourself, because I think I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. This is a re-empowerment phase. And by willing and open to say yes, that's when you're going to start to like gain the greater perspective and the greater lessons, and be shown that you are connected in a much greater way than maybe you might even understand. So lean in, do these practices, and tell me how it goes, because I'm so excited to be sharing this message with you. And even I'm also being called to say yes. And so this is our time, this is our empowerment. And I really want you to go and just feel this in your heart. Feel the frequency of what I'm saying, feel the energy of that shift, and just feel how it resonates with you. So which part of this message do you feel called to? Write that down. If you have to listen to this again, listen to it again, but write it down, write it on a post-it somewhere you can see it, and reaffirm this to yourself, because this message is for you and it was coming through especially for you. And so if this is resonating, write that down and reaffirm it for yourself. I'm so happy that you can experience this. I'm so excited that you get to say yes and you are open to receive and allow in like so much greatness into your life. And so go with it, lean in, and answer your calling.